You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Put that coffee down.
I'm a British nanny, and I'm dangerous.
It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
That was totally wicked!
It's the Al Travis Show. Our next guest been with us for quite some time. We love him. Representative Tim O'Driscoll. Representative, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm well. Good to be on the show. Good to visit with you. A little hiatus here over the last couple of weeks, but things are good.
Good. I don't know how much we can talk about stuff we talked about before we get on the air, because then, you run into stuff, but I think you're okay. You had brought up that we're at a certain age where time is flying by. and I think you're correct. It was like Friday a minute and a half ago. It's Friday again. That's sad, isn't it? Remember when you were a kid, you were just begging for Friday, so you never came. The week never took, and now it's bam, bam, bam. They go down like, I don't know, cards.
So in elementary school, it's like, oh, Monday morning. Oh, it's gonna be like forever till Friday. And now it's like, shoot, I didn't get this done on Monday, and then Tuesday, and then how can I reset it up for Thursday morning? And okay, how about Friday? And yeah.
Here's this. Do you golf, sir? Are you a golfer?
I'm going to give you a quick story about my golfing.
All right.
When I go golfing, in Sartell is a golf course, and it butts up against a residential subdivision.
Yep.
And every time I go out golfing with my friends, they give me a bad time. They start yelling out, "People of the Wilds, O'Driscoll's at the tee box."
Just to know who to sue. That's funny. I enjoy the game. It's like what I do. I enjoy it. It gives me the opportunity to smoke cigars, be with friends. I mean, to me, it's the perfect sport. And 2.5 months ago, I was golfing as well as I've ever golfed. I was loving it. And then the next day, it just stopped. I forgot how to golf. My brain went to another place. I have no idea what happened. And then,
you know what you need? You need Carl, the groundskeeper, to coach you.
That's exactly. Well, what happened? So I decided to get just back to basics. What ended up happening? I'd help my son. He asked me to, because I taught him how to golf. He's got a club championship, but I went up and played a round with him. We just got back to the basics, and all of a sudden, I was like, Al, that's what you got to do. I got back, and I played a really good round of golf on Wednesday. I enjoyed myself again. I fell back in love with golf. So we are going to golf Friday afternoon. This is our day. I'm feeling as happy as I could be. And then, do you see the forecast today? There's a heat advisory. It's going to feel like 112, and we're so old, back to turning around how old we are. When I was a kid, I don't know if maybe they hadn't invented the heat advisory. I would be out golfing. Today, a couple emails go by, we're not golfing. Did you see the heat index? We're too old for this. My day was crushed.
Now, where I'm at, in my part of the state, it's overcast and looks like it wants to rain, but not probably going to. Just be that miserable kind of, can't do this, can't do that. Little drizzle messes everything up.
Well, but we can't go outside. I get it. You're 100 years old like myself, and it feels like 100 degrees. It's not going to be fun, but it was going to be my day today. You're a Twins fan, correct?
Yes, I love Minnesota sports. You know it.
Well, so let me ask you this. I don't own the Twins. The Pohlads own it. It's their business. They can run it. They want to run it, but we haven't chatted since what I'm calling Bloody Thursday, when they gutted this team, 40% of the team out the door. Where do you sit feeling-wise on this? Can you share? I mean, you're on the radio.
Yeah, it's two sides of the same coin, right? Number one, the sports side. The Twins weren't going anywhere this year. You got a lot of payroll. First of all, cut it loose and let these guys go to teams that they might be able to be successful with. Twins are just kind of in that Minnesota perpetual cycle right now. Second part of it is the Pohlads are like, okay, this is for sale, and they're managing down expenses and trying to put a team that they can put on the marketplace to be able to be sold. And when the Pohlads bought it from Cal Griffith, a lifetime ago,
89, I think 84 it was. And they bought it for $44 million.
Yep. Now here's the deal, right? 84, 87 World Series, 84, 89 World Series.
Yep.
Let's get her sold, Pohlad, so that the next owner can get in there and get us a World Series win in the next 3 to 4 years. Are you with me?
Oh, the fact that they don't want it, that it is for sale, that they've said, we've lost enough money, which is a joke. Supposedly the team, they're $400 million in the hole on this squad since they bought it. But the team itself, from $44 million to now $1.5 billion, they're going to do okay. I'm not feeling sorry for them, but if you don't want in, then get out, because between you and I, if I had their money and I own this quad, I don't think it was time to sell. I think it was time to buy. I think you were a few pieces. No, not this year, but next year. And I think it was time to go get somebody, and here we are looking. I mean, what do you do for the last 50 games now? Try to learn the names of the new kids?
Minnesota is in the perpetual Bermuda Triangle of can't win a championship, right? It's unbelievable. But maybe we'll find Amelia Earhart sometime in that too. But that's a story for another day. But my point is, I don't think the Polas are going to have to go to the Catholic Charities Soup Kitchen because they had a bad season. You are right, and I'm gonna put this out there. It's a little controversial, but when there's a lot of public money in building these stadiums and doing these kinds of things, every time they build a bigger stadium, that's more revenue for everybody that's involved, including the owners, and that's what makes the value of these teams, right?
Yep.
So you and I will never, probably you, maybe I won't, but in that category of playing around with the big kids, the one percenters, right? Where you're sitting around talking to your friends. Well, gee, I only own 2 professional sports teams across the country.
Yeah, it's not going to be good. Let me ask you this though, then, sports guy. Minnesota Vikings are going to take off on Saturday, 3:00, NFL Network. You got to pay extra to see that. That drives me nuts. Pregame. Do you even let J.J. McCarthy start? They're going to. But this was 1 year ago when he started in a preseason game, and busted the Achilles. Why are we risking that?
I'm surprised that they even kept him. They had things going in pretty good, momentum last year. And again, I understand, contracts are contracts, and players only have a limited shelf life. And if I was a player and I basically dedicated my entire life to this, I'd want to be able to make as much money as I could as well, because I've talked to and gotten to know a lot of athletes over the years after they've left their professional sports, long after the cameras have turned in a different direction to the new superstars.
Yep.
And these people are dealing with physical issues like there's no tomorrow. In their 30s, and they're like, I got to have knee surgery, and I got to have a knee brace for the rest of my life. Why? Remember that Sunday back when I blew my knee? No, I don't.
Yeah. We so forget. My quick story, Bob Lurtzman, remember Benchwarmer Bob? Saw him at a charity event. He is one of the greatest guys of all time. Go to shake his hand, and his hands were like Baron von Raschke's. They were so curled up and bad. And I said, wow. And he goes, I'm sorry. He said, it's arthritis from the years of being in that position. And he said he busted each of his fingers a half dozen times, whatever. He was permanently disfigured by football.
On a happier note with Bob Lurtzman, I loved the TCF commercials back at the old Met Stadium. Now, do you remember this one? Back at the old Met Stadium, it was snowing, and they're having Bob Lurtzman Appreciation Day, and he walks out these little footsteps, perfect snow, and he walks up to the microphones. They're like to thank everybody, and they pull away, and there's like nobody in the stadium, cold.
Bob was fantastic. Back to those days, quick. Back to they're putting this on NFL Network. The 2 games that are across the pond are on the NFL Network. They've got one on Prime Video. It would seem I have to buy 3 different packages to see my Minnesota Vikings. You're old enough to remember. You remember Bob Lurtzman's deal. You remember when the game wouldn't be on TV if they didn't sell the stadium out by 5 o'clock on whatever day. And who was it that came in? General Mills, and always bought out all the
Pillsbury. Totino Pizza up in or Gino's Pizza up in Duluth. I mean, they all just like took turns round robin to sell these out and give it to charities and kids and employees and what have you.
I want those days back. I don't want to buy this streaming crap to see my Minnesota Vikings. Is that asking too much? We bought the darn stadium.
So here's 2 things for you on that. So Senator Howe, who I know is on this show as well from time to time, he wants to introduce a bill that says you take public money, you have to make sure that those are available in the local market, because Joe Sixpack is out there working, the manufacturing job that Donald Trump's bringing back.
Exactly.
And they're paying the taxes to do this, and now they got to go home and they can't see what on their own television what's being broadcast. And mind you, you probably still have to have cable television because aerial antennas back when we were kids, and you and I were the remote controls in our houses, and our dad said, "Hey,
wow, we're old."
Get that for me?
Oh, that is great reference. We are so old, you and me. That is so funny. I'd love that, by the way, if you could pull that off, because I completely agree. We buy you a stadium, make you all the money, and then all of a sudden I got to buy an extra package to see what's going on. Not a big
So,
fan.
so at base, you're buying cable, right? And now
Yeah.
you have to buy NFL Network or get on Netflix or, or not Netflix, excuse me, Amazon Prime and what have you. And I told Lester Bailey, because Lester was in my office earlier this session, talking about some stuff that the Vikings had, some improvements they want to make in the stadium and different kinds of things. And I just said, Lester, you need to know that there is an appetite out there for going after you folks, not you specifically, but the NFL. I said, you need to escalate this with the NFL, or you're going to have a lot of trouble building stadiums and getting stuff done and getting improvements with public dollars. People do not have the appetite anymore for paying for billionaires to own these teams and expect the fans to be able to line your pockets with revenue.
100% agree. Even take the Twins real quick. You could buy that Twins package up in the cities to see the Twins. Then they got the team. Now you got a package, and are you even going to watch them anymore? You kind of got stuck. We got to go to break. We'll be back after this. I want to talk some real politics stuff with Representative Tim O'Driscoll right after this.
Think about it. A famous politician once said, "You're entitled to your opinion, but you are not entitled to your own facts." But in a world full of AI and fake news, where can Minnesotans find the facts? Center of the American Experiment is Minnesota's go-to source for fact-based analysis and common sense solutions for taxes, energy, public safety, and our kids' education. Visit AmericanExperiment.org for more information. Think About It is brought to you by Center of the American Experiment, Minnesota's think tank.
Achieving your financial goals requires individual planning and a comprehensive approach. At Midwest Money Management, our mission is to provide you with the knowledge, tools, and confidence to feel comfortable financially today and secure about tomorrow. Learn more at MidwestMoneyManagement.com. That's MidwestMoneyManagement.com.
Securities offered through JW Cole Financial Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through JW Cole Advisors Inc. Midwest Money Management and JW Cole Financial Inc. and JW Cole Advisors Inc. are unaffiliated entities.
As in alligator. L also in alligator. But it's not alligator. It's the Al Travis Show.
We've got him, Representative Tim O'Driscoll, on the program with us. Representative, getting to some policy and politics. This latest scandal is with the Housing Stability something or other Act. Federal government says, we're going to take a look at this bad boy. Something's wrong here. I guess I hadn't even really heard about this stupid thing. And as soon as they bring that up, we shut it off. It's off. This isn't like all the other scandals where we kind of defend it, hope people forget about it. What did we do with the autism scandal? I have no idea. But this one's bad enough they cut it off. So Al starts taking a look in this thing. Starts at $2.6 million to help people talk to homeless people about finding housing. It is now at 2024 up to $104 million. The guy who's the U.S. attorney who's coming in here taking a look, like, believes that almost 100% of this money was fraudulently given away. When, as a citizen of Minnesota, can I just say enough is flippin' enough? They were paying $70 an hour. That's lawyer fees, baby. $70 an hour to go talk to a homeless person for up to 150 hours on what? The 2-3 programs that are available? What are you chatting about? And we just paid it out without ever having any ability to know if they actually talked to anybody. It can't be that easy.
So things are different in 2025 than in 2024 is you have a federal government under the leadership of President Trump that won't stand for this kind of stuff. And so when they see things and there are things that the states won't step up and do, the federal government's coming in, and that's exactly what's happening in this program. Now, pre-January of 2025, what did you have? You had President Biden and the team there, which really didn't follow through on much of any of these kinds of things. And we had a governor who was running for president, or excuse me, vice president on the the Harris Walz ticket at that point, and he really wasn't home to tend the shop. If we aren't going to have an administration and people who are charged with this is your job to watch these dollars and to screen for fraud and to be accountable on there, then what we need to do is we need to have different elected officials in the governor's office and at this level. The legislature only has so much authority to do this, and that's why the office of the Inspector General that the legislature was banting around, that the Democrats stood in front of in the 25 session, was so important because it actually gave the ability to be able to have a more thorough investigation and accountability on these things back to the legislature on this. Quite frankly, we put a bill together, we send it to the governor's office, and the governor says, I don't like it, vetoes it. We have no authority to be able to do that. That's the way the process works. So if we can get a governor who will sign up on an office of Inspector General, then we're able to do some things and to get on top of this. Again, this goes back to the $18 billion surplus that we had that Al Travis and Tim O'Driscoll and a bunch of other people never saw a red cent out of this money that came back to them, but yet they were the ones who filled the coffers in here. And the part that's puzzling to me and troubling to me at the same time is you have a lot of citizens who go, yeah, well, that's money that's gone. They complain about government and they move on in the grocery checkout line and, get their groceries and go have their picnic or whatever they're doing. People have to step up because you're going to get more of the same unless you start holding that process accountable. See, trust me, we are trying as a legislature.
I know you're trying, but this is back to someone set this program up, which is ludicrous, $70 an hour, 150 hours. I can't talk for 150 hours on anything, and I do it for a living. So that was bad. The fact there's no guardrails, that's horrible. But there was some person, I'm calling him Bob. Bob was given the task of watching this program, right, when it came in 2020. He had $2.6 million budget. 4 years later, it's up to $104 million. They started at 8,300 homeless people. Now it's at 21,000 homeless people. Either the program isn't working, we're digging up homeless people from somewhere, but never was the conversation had till the federal government comes in. Bob should be held accountable by his boss, whoever that is. The DHS person should be in charge and saying, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Every year I see this line item jumping up. We are currently $250 million into this program, and it doesn't look like anything helped any homeless people. And the goal wasn't to help homeless people. The goal was just to talk to them. What am I missing?
Yeah, it's reckless use of public dollar and public authority that's invested in elected officials. A lot of this stuff is still trifecta, has trifecta. What do you want to call it?
Residuals,
tentacles that go back into this, and we've tried. We're doing what we can as Republicans, but again, remember we have one half of the Minnesota House, and I think we did okay in standing in front of and being at the table on this. But we're going to need help in the 26 elections in order to be able to take that next step and to rein this in.
All right.
And by the way, our housing problem is rising taxes and rising insurance premiums for homeowners. That is our problem. We have to get that contained. And people say, well, interest rates are high. Hey, I got news for you. I've been in the real estate business in some way, shape, or form since 1983. And I've seen interest rates as high as 16%, and I've seen interest rates down as low as 3%. Yep. Rates go up and rates go down. But you know what doesn't go up and down is your insurance premiums and your property taxes. They continue to go up and up. And when you buy a home, the lender sits down and says, total package, your principal, your interest, your taxes, and your insurance, here's how much you can afford in your salary and your wages.
Yep.
And as that T&I, or taxes and insurance, part of that payment, it grows, it's less P&I, principal interest, which means how much you can afford in a home.
Sir, I appreciate you. I really do. We're completely out of time. Thanks for coming on the program. You know I appreciate you. I really do. Representative Tim O'Driscoll.
Take care.
More after this.
In the fight against suicide, every voice matters. Get involved in the movement to prevent suicide through attending a SAVE event near you. Visit save.org/events. That's save.org/events. Together, we can save lives. Together, we can make a difference.
You don't need to ask him his opinion more than once. Al Travis on The Al Travis Show.
I really do thank Tim O'Driscoll, Representative O'Driscoll, coming on the program. He's been doing it for years for us. I really do appreciate him because he's up and honest about it. You get a lot of different takes from a lot of different folks, and he is right there always being honest. I'm going to be honest. If we can't get upset in Minnesota about what we now know is about $1 billion, this is what we know of for fraud. Literally taking money out of your pocket on a $66 billion budget. Let's just say we found half. Would you be okay if every time you wrote a check for $66, you gave $2 to the guy next to you? Not even that the guy stole the $2 next to you out of every 66? It is ridiculous. And how easy it is over the top. I just swear I talked to a homeless gal, I can't remember her name, and I talked to her for 150 hours at $70 an hour. I'm shaking my head. A lot of good show to come. We've got her. Amy Koch is next with Wrong About Everything.